All right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Mining Experience. For those who are listening to us for the first time, the Mining Experience is a live podcast that invites professionals from the mining industry to discuss new technologies, address challenges, and share work experiences. I'm Mohammed Zaki, your host for today, and I'm the marketing manager at ProMine. Joining me today is my colleague, Paulina Gallego. Paulina, how are you today?
Very good, Mohammed. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mohammed again. I'm so glad to be here hosting this podcast with you. My name is Paulina Gallego. I'm a mining and metallurgical engineer, and I'm with ProMine for almost 2 years now as an account executive. Thank you so much for being here with us. Well, so in mining operations, underground geology is crucial to understand the continuity of ore and to design the rest of the mine properly. By getting accurate geological exploration data, geologists are able to make effective decisions and increase the return of a mine. Geology mobile applications can help geologists with these decisions by giving them a tool for daily tasks, phase mapping, block modeling, channel sampling, and so much more. In this episode, our guest is going to tell us more about the advantages of using mobile applications for geology and how it can help us or help geology in their heavy projects.
Excellent. And let's start by introducing our guest. So today we have Mr. Ivan Dion joining us from Quebec Min, where he's currently at the ProMine booth, and it's snowing heavily there too. So Mr. Ivan Dion is the president of the company ProMine Inc., which develops mining and surveying software solutions through its main brand ProMine that serves over 100 clients in more than 10 countries. ProMine also provides solutions for the geological exploration industry through its brand ProGeox. Mr. Ivan is a respected individual in the mining industry and has an extensive experience in programming, underground mining, and CAD-based software. He also has experience in research as he worked at the Noranda Research Center in Pointe Claire, Quebec, here in Canada. In his free time, he enjoys biking regardless of Quebec's weather. Hello, Ivan, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. That was a nice introduction.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we know that the topic for today is all about, the technology in apps in underground geology. Can you maybe start by telling us a little bit about your past experience working in underground mining and the type of geology work you got involved into?
Yeah. Well, I would start with the first jobs I had as intern in mining operations. So I started basically in an open pit mine at first, acting as a surveyor. So it was a large iron mines located in northern Quebec. Of course, when I did that, which was quite a few years ago, there was a lot of stuff written on paper. That, of course, has changed today. My next internship was a underground production geologist. So I would go through stopes during the morning and grab some samples, mark the ore limits, and all of that. And this was also done on paper at that time. In the afternoon, I was updating the drawings and getting some diamond drill holes plotted and all of that. After that, I started my career on some blasting projects and also on ventilation, underground mine ventilation at Brunswick Mining. We did introduce basically ventilation simulation in that mine. That was a fairly large ventilation department there because there was more than 2 million cubic feet per minute of air getting to the mine. So that was a lot to manage in there. I introduced the digitalization of surveys, basically, so that people had a handheld device to record the flows and the pollutants in the air at that time. So basically, that my first experiences in mining were various, touching all kinds of things, which makes it interesting today, making software for those things.
Yeah, of course. And Mr. Van, I would like to ask you what motivated you to get into underground mine from the beginning?
Uh, that's that's an interesting question. Um, I like dark, cold, humid places. So,
Oh.
well, that's not really the
Hmm.
reason, but um, since I had a experience in open pit and underground, I could, compare both of them, and I found that underground was a lot more challenging. It's a lot more complex compared to surface mining. Surface mining, you see everything. There are things that you don't worry about, like ventilation or things like that, and basically, I kind of uh, enjoyed basically the challenge of underground. And of course, you can divide the underground into hard rock mining and seams mining, like coal and potash. And I was really like, hard rock mining is really something in terms of, safety issues, optimizing basically the mining methods, getting the most out of it. It's really like, hey, you want to have trouble, get into that part. So that was one of the things that brought me into underground mining. Um, Also, I wanted to travel. I wanted to, see the world and, go different places. So underground mining was also one place where, a mine has a finite lifetime. So you may be working 5, 10 years somewhere and then move somewhere else and experience all kinds of a working environment. So that was also something that was really uh, interesting for me, basically.
I
Yeah,
see.
and definitely that's one of the advantages we have here, like the people at us that it's involved in the mining industry. That's one of the biggest advantages we have.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And would you say that working underground is more of a routine work? Like, do you still get to do the same things every day, or is it really, new day, different challenge?
Um, it's there is a routine in there because of course it's a process and you want that process to be the same so that you can optimize it. But working on the ground, there was always something that happened. You could say that, let's say, a geologist that goes underground is, always doing the same thing, but there is always something that poses a challenge. Uh, okay, there is or which doesn't show up, or that shows up where you don't expect it, and at some point you need to, okay, we need to rework this uh, and notify, let's say, production, and go outside of your usual thing. Of course, if you do your things well, you don't have all of those surprises, but it
Mhm.
will also depend on the mining operation you're at. Sometimes, things are, easy and it's fairly regular. Some other places it's like a bit more erratic and you get surprises all the time. So it's always different. There is also things that you need to do once a month, let's say, that change from the routine that you're usually having. So it's always changing.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. And based on your experience, what would be, like we're talking about the
Mhm.
underground geology, all these
Mhm.
processes that happen underground. What would be the greatest technological development that could be made for underground geology?
the the modeling and estimation of resources.
Hmm.
This is really when you start a project, it takes a long time before you have some confidence into what you're going to mine. And even then, I've seen some projects, start, but about 40% of the resources finally are not there.
Hmm.
So somewhere the modeling, didn't pick up correctly what was going on, or the sampling didn't wasn't dense enough, or well, all kinds of reasons, basically.
Right.
Even into an operating mine, you always have the engineering saying, where's the ore? And the geologists are like, there is some here. We're not sure about the shape yet and how many there is. Give us more time and we'll answer that question. But the production is kind of behind their back and saying, hey, we need to know. And basically, at some point, it will be great if we could go beyond basically the diamond drill holes that we need to, make into an ore body and get some geophysics in order to, complete that modeling accurately, or more accurately at least, and then get a better prediction of grades and all that. And because this is always like your profit in there that is in there. So I think that better connect the geology with the production, have better modeling, better prediction of grades and all of that is really a place where technological development should focus, basically, in geology.
Yes, that's a very very good point, especially that we're not even sure we're not even 100% sure that the diamond drill hole results are going to give us what we expect. So to even go beyond that, that would be, something amazing to be, I guess, with new technology, that's definitely nothing, sky's the limit, and it's never impossible, but it's definitely true that resource estimation and getting, the good tonnage values is something that's absolutely, very, very useful in that sense.
And well, Mr. Lam, focusing more in the mobile applications, I would like to ask you if we can use the mobile applications in underground mining and geology, of course. And well, if the answer is yes, what are the benefits that they bring us when using them?
Yeah, the answer is definitely yes. And today, there is something that, well, I've seen that evolve, so I can, give some insight about, things that have happened. In the past, when you wanted to have mobile applications, you had those big tablets. They were about that thick and that big, and there was no colors in there or anything, and it was heavy. It was a slow computer in there. It was costing like $10,000, and that was like, every time you would say, hey, we could do this, and everybody was looking at that, and the user, especially, lugging that heavy thing around, was like, oh, I'm not going to carry this around with that, loosey program in there and all of that. And today, they're making tablets which are fairly slim, and basically there's a really good computer in there that can run AutoCAD in there, and the batteries are lasting a lot longer, and you can bring that into very difficult environment. So that's one of the first steps where you can say, yes, we can use mobile applications because we have the hardware for it. We have something which is reliable that we can use days in, days out, and that's the first step. The other part is you have software that you can develop for those tablets. You're not into a closed environment or a proprietary environment with those tablets. So you can develop for Android, and there's tons of developers for Android, tools for develop, let's say for Android. You can get even those tablets into Windows systems in there and run basically Windows programs in there. So that helps, customize basically what you want to have in there. The tablet can also interface with hardware, like survey instrument, a drill, something that measure grades, a 3D scan that you make basically, and you can bring that into the tablet and have the data directly available in there. So right on the field, you have that in there. and you can see that, and you can make decision with that data right away. We have a client which has a tablet, and what they do, they send a probe down the drill holes of a stove. And because of the sulfur type of ore, they can see where those drill holes actually hit the ore. And let's say the drill holes that you have at the edge of the stove, you can scan in there and see, hey, that drill hole, there's actually no ore in that drill hole. We're not going to load that hole and put explosive in there and add tonnage, which would be essentially dilution in there. And when they do this, they have the tablet and they see as they lower down the probe inside the hole, is there ore in there? They see it right away. And if the guy that will load the blast is there, they can go and say, hey, this hole, this hole, this hole, you don't load them. And so you're taking decision right away because you have that capability of seeing what's in there. So that's really, when you think about it, that's really a great way to speed up basically decision and make sure that you get what pays actually.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Especially that when making those decisions on the spot, imagine the amount of time that you save as well. Like without that kind of technology, you would have to bring those results. You need to first leave the mine, upload those results, see it by yourself first, or transfer files around and then go down. It's a lot of time wasted. Whereas with, like you said, like you have the results right there in front of you, and you can work on it right away. Yeah, that's an excellent point. And like in large corporations, we see that sometimes it's very hard to change processes or the way of working. What could be done to ease this integration of mobile apps into large corporations if they're trying to?
I think the first thing is to convince people that it's worth it. So you have to compute a payback period, saying, hey, if you do it this way, there will be a boost in productivity, a better decisions that are made, or more informed decision when you take the decision. So sometimes it's difficult because that's kind of I would say fuzzy, or it's not clear. But very often you can have a very good idea what would be the benefits in there. Like we have a client, and it takes an hour for the miners to go to the face. And basically, if the miner who is at the face can make a survey of that face and upload that directly, you have a follow-up of basically of what's going on, which you can communicate to production and basically see what's going on, basically. And what it saves is a surveyor going to that place, which takes an hour for the surveyor to get there and then to come back. Oh no, the miner can do some basic surveys there. So that surveyor can do something else, which would be, also part of his job. But you're having that specialized guy that can do something else, which would be more productive than, going to check an advance on a face. So that could pay quite a lot in very short time. What is interesting also is you can make custom programs for what you need, basically, and it's not difficult to do today to make custom programs for that corporation. So it really is a program which is tailored to the capacities of the users. So you say, okay, I need a program for an engineer. You won't do the same thing that a program which is done for a miner, because you'll get everyone in there. I mean, the miners will also at some point use this for their work. And basically, if you make something for a miner, of course, you have to have a simpler interface. and something that speaks the same language as the miner, and so that he can figure out how it's going. By customizing, you also make it easy to install. Those
Mhm.
application can have help and guidance inside of them, so that when people they're coming back from vacation basically after 3-4 weeks, and oh yeah, how does that work, and basically, oh, there's a little bit of help here. You can get this into the application, so that's make it easier to deploy basically this. And updating the program can be simple also, so that it's easy to, we need a tablet for this, and you can have something set up in a matter of minutes, and it's really ready to go. So that's also something that you, you need to have basically, so that works well. The follow-up on progress and making better decision is very important for production also, because if they know what's going on, they can assign basically the resource at the right spot where it will be most efficient on a daily basis, on every shift basically basis. You can say, oh, this is completed, we can do this, we can do this, we can do that. And you can do this in the middle of a shift. Basically, you don't have to wait for the people to come back and saying, hey, this is completed, and all of that. You could have an application, as soon as that application is within communication, that will send some messages saying, hey, this is completed, and or there is a problem here or something like this, and you get basically a decision what to do with your resource at that time. So it's possibilities are so interesting, you cannot go for it.
Yeah, yeah. You made I just want to emphasize one very, very interesting point that you made, is that when you want to develop, when you have any software, it doesn't matter in which department, you have, of course, like the whole mine is always in communication with each other. Like everyone is always, everything needs to be synced. So the customized application, what it the way it can benefit this is that it could, like you said, you can have a customized app for, like, let's say the engineering and geology and drill and blast, like they can all work with the same software, instead of trying to bring in different things from outside and trying to communicate with each other. So that's a very, very good point.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and also talking more about the benefits that applications, mobile applications, bring us in the underground mining, and mentioning that now safety and security and sustainability in the mining, it's one of the topics that it's bringing or catching more the attention in the mining industry. I'd like to ask you, how can a mobile applications for underground mining and geology contribute to the safety and, well, the sustainability of mine?
Yeah. This is a very good topic. Safety starts first by knowing there is something hazardous, because this is where you can do an act of safety. And the second thing, which needs to be done, is making it known to everyone, and this is essential, so that everyone know, oh, there is something which is dangerous here, and it needs to be done. So an application for geology could actually, well, map basically faults in a given workplace, and we can basically start to predict what are the wedges that could fall down from the back, and at some point you can say, oh, we need a bit more support in here because there could be this happening in here. And you can communicate that basically with an application, saying, hey, here are what I did map. Here is where there could be a wedge, so you have the exact location where this can happen, and basically you're making some action in there, and you can even send pictures, to document that place. This and basically, someone at the other hand could look at it and say, "Oh, okay, we have this case here. We need to send this equipment, and we need this material, basically to fix this up." So instead of someone, coming back, drawing something, issuing a work order, and following kind of a process that can take easily 1 day or two, you could start that process as early as possible. And every time you address a situation quickly, basically you get some productivity out of this. You get more tons quicker, and all of that. So those applications, could help you react faster and go where it's important that you act, basically, because there is something that needs to be taken care of.
Interesting. Very, very well. So let's talk about a little bit about ProMine. And I want to ask you, what does ProMine contribute to the growth in tools needed for underground geology work? And is ProMine working on any apps right now?
Yes, we do. Actually, we have a geological mapping application, which was in AutoCAD. And basically, the need for doing this on the field showed up pretty quickly in that application. And people were kind of, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to carry an AutoCAD, a tablet which can run AutoCAD. I want to have something, lighter, so that I can go there and do the same work that I do in the office." So basically, we developed the same application in Android, and basically the geological mapping is something, but the geomechanics people are using also those mapping in order to plan basically the support that will be needed in their spot trouble parts, and measure openings, and take decision about how they should do things. So so we're developing this basically, and what is important also is to make this very flexible, so that it's very easy to do all kinds of things in there, because paper has something which makes it very flexible, because when people are working on paper, they can write down all kinds of things, draw things, and all of that. And you need to have that same flexibility as the paper into an application. And of course, for programmers, it makes it difficult. But this is, if we want people to accept and use those tools, we need to have that capability that they had before when they were working on paper. So that's one thing which is important in there. And you need to be able to send this data very easily to other platforms, so that it's spreading the information very easy. You're not limited to sending things. You can send a text basically to some people. You can update some drawings, send pictures, update a database, connect to a planning software, and update a task which is currently done into that planning software. The possibilities are infinite, basically. It's just, hey, the client saying, "I want to have this," and we can just tell them, "Yeah, we can do this. And how do you want this to be working? What system you want to connect with?" And there's always a way to do this, basically. So it's no limit in there, no limit.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to take this moment to tell everyone who's watching us, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button here on Zoom, or if you're watching us from YouTube, make sure to leave your questions in the comment section. And if you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to follow us at ProMine Software, one word, on Instagram. Thank you very much. All right, let's continue.
All right, so I have a question here, Mohammed. It's can we import files from our ProMine, our own app in the desktop, to this application?
Yes, and this is basically one thing that that it was a challenge in here, because basically we can import the ProMine drawings, the AutoCAD drawings, basically into the tablet and see them in 3D. And cut sections basically in the tablet. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the ProMine drawings to bring them into the tablet. What we're facing though is, if you want to bring 1 million of things, then you were getting into the limit of basically what a tablet can do. But by managing well your workplaces and getting everything you need into a given area, that will work just fine, basically. So that's a very good question, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's also good a tool now, because there are some of the people outside like having, well, using Filer, for example, that allow us to make this integration with the other departments, like having the possibility to bring the information in real time and share it with the other team is one of them, like the greatest things I think it already
Yes.
has. Well, Mr. Ivan, our last question, it's I would like to ask you, how does the mining industry foresee right now the future in terms of technological issues for you?
There is technical issue and human issues in there. I would say. Of course, the security of data is always something that you want to be very careful about. Sometimes some information, if everyone gets that information, it's no big deal. I mean, it's nothing that would be bad for basically the mining operation, of course. But sometimes you have some data that you don't want to be published because it will have an influence on the share price of the company. So you need to keep that data safe. But at the same time, you want people to access this data. So there is always just security and basically the up-to-date data that you want to have. So that's one of the issues that we currently have, basically, but it will become more and more important with time. People rely a lot on those systems today, and you have a dependence on that system. And sometimes, you'll be using a system, it becomes obsolete, or it becomes very costly, and it's kind of, oh, should we change or keep going? And the provider of that solution is kind of, hey, you're very dependent on this. I'm going to charge you a lot of money, and I know you're going to pay. And you will see that. I've seen it basically in the industry, and it's kind of I would say not a very good business practice, I would say. Technology also may be difficult to self-maintain. So the mining operation may not have the expertise to maintain that. So that's another issue that may arise basically because of technology that you include into your process. So that can be one thing that that could bring more dependence basically on system in this case. Of course, the productivity gains can be incredible. You can get a lot done in a shorter time, take better decision, and improve basically your productivity. You may need less people to do the same job, so that can be very interesting. So that's really, there's a payback for that technology. Otherwise, we wouldn't use it, basically. One of the things that goes with technology also is the human experience might be lost. And what I'm saying is in there is two things. You have people that have experience in a mine that have been working for a while, and because you use technology, basically you're not it's not humans that are doing things that learn by doing those things. It's basically a software that does it, or a system that does it. So you're losing kind of that human experience build up. But human experience is also working with people, and working with people where you exchange ideas, where you share basically what's going on and all of that. Sometimes, technology will block this communication between people, so that human thing that is built up and that helps you find solution might be lost also in this case. So that's one of the things that it's not everywhere and all the time, but this is one thing which is lost at some point. Also, when you're using technology, you have software that may not all the cases may not be planned into that software. So you may hit a limit basically because of technology, and you're kind of blocked by that technology because you want to do things another way, but you don't have the possibility because of the technology you are using, and that blocks, at the same time, that will block the creativity of people, because in many cases you need that people creativity, and they got ideas, but they cannot create those ideas because of the technology they are using. So that's also an issue that technology brings in. You may be constrained basically inside something where you need to be, getting a little bit out of that part. So I think that's most of the issues that technology brings in. So good and less good, I would say, at some point.
Yeah, very, very insightful. Thank you very much, Mr. Ivan. Well, with that being said, we would like to thank you for joining us and for sharing all of that. That was, well, for me at least, I've learned a lot, and thank you very much. And yeah, once more, we thank you, and we hope to see you again very soon.
Excellent.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Goodbye, everyone.
afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.